Factsverse presents 15 Things You Didn't Know About Earth. You'd think that since we live on this planet, we'd know everything there is to know about Earth. And while we do know a lot of things about our mother planet, there are some things that we don't know. In fact, here are 15 things you probably didn't know about Earth, and some of them might even surprise you. Before we jump into our video, do us a favor by clicking that like button. Also, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos. We all know that there are 24 hours in a day, right? I mean, a full day is the time it takes the Earth to spin on its axis, and that's 24 hours. Well, not exactly. What you might not know is that Earth actually spins 23 hours and 56 minutes per day. We add the extra 4 minutes to each day because the distance that the Earth orbits the Sun is so great that it takes extra time for us to face the Sun again. The Earth spins slower and slower every year, too. They estimate that in about 250 million years, the typical day on Earth will only be about 90 minutes. There is an area in Canada known as Hudson Bay, and it has an uneven mass and uneven gravity. There were once glaciers in that area that melted a long time ago. Well, now they're gone, but the burden of gravity remains in the ice sheets and underneath the Earth's crust. This results in lower gravity in this area than anywhere else on Earth. Now, that doesn't mean that you can visit the place and feel like you're walking on the moon. The difference in gravity is only about 0.005% reduction. The change is so small you won't be able to feel it. The first photo of Earth ever taken was in 1946. A camera was strapped to a V-2 missile 65 miles above the Earth's atmosphere. The camera managed to snap a frame every second and a half, and the rocket survived re-entry. The scientists involved in the project were ecstatic. They couldn't believe that there was finally now a photo of the Earth in existence. In 1967, the full-color image of the Earth was taken by the Dodge satellite. These photos led to the beginning of a better understanding of the world where we live. Have you ever wondered why oceans are so salty? Well, most of the salt in the water comes from the rocks on the shore. Rainwater is naturally acidic, and it breaks down the rocks and then distributes its components into the water. The seawater salt is so dense that if you were to dissolve all the oceans in the world and spread the salt across the Earth, you would still have a 500-foot-thick salt layer coating absolutely everything. That is a lot of salt. Fortunately, our oceans will never dry up, at least not in our lifetime, so that means we don't have to deal with an excessive salt issue, at least not on the Earth. In your diet, however, well, that's between you and your doctor. There is a place in Death Valley known as Racetrack Playa. In this area, rocks can actually move on their own from place to place. And it's not just tiny pebbles that are moving on their own either. There are rocks in the area that weigh tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of pounds that are able to move on their own. Scientists believe the reason rocks in this area move is that they are ice-encrusted and they are flooded by meltwater from the hills, and that makes the ground very slick. When a strong wind blows, even though the rocks are that heavy, the rocks could still move. It's a crazy phenomenon that you'll only see in Death Valley. Many scientists believe that at the beginning of the development of this planet, there was a smaller twin planet which they've called Theia. The twin planet was around the size of Mars, and over 5 billion years ago, Theia crashed into Earth. Most of it was absorbed into the Earth's crust, and the rest drifted off. It was this part of the twin planet that created the Moon, again according to theories. Scientists aren't sure the theory is true, but their reasoning is planets the size of Earth don't typically have moons that are so big as ours. Also, there are matters found on the Moon that are also found on Earth. If the theory is correct and the two planets never collided, people could live on Theia, and the two planets would have had no moon. Many people believe the Sun is our primary source of energy. It's a ball of energy that we depend on to survive. If we didn't have access to sunlight, most people believe the human race would die out pretty quickly. What you might not know is that Earth's core is just as hot as the surface of the Sun. The two are between 5,000 and 7,000 degrees Celsius. So if a catastrophe were to happen and the Sun's rays were permanently blocked by clouds or nuclear fallout, the Earth would freeze. Fortunately, we would be able to harness the energy within the Earth to help us survive until the air was clear and the sun could shine again. Digging down that far, of course, would be the tough part. Cameroon is located near the border of the Congo, and there lies 3 lakes, the Nyos, Manaun, and Kivu lakes. In 1984, a group of local villagers was walking to work when suddenly a gas cloud appeared. It swept the workers away before being swept off by the wind. That day, 37 people were killed instantly. After some investigation, experts realized that the gas cloud that swept the men away was carbon dioxide that had been released during an explosion from the lakes. The lakes are sitting on volcanic Earth, and they still explode even today. Many people don't even know the lakes by their technical names. Instead, they recognize them as the exploding lakes. Today, humans can say that we've touched down on and explored the moon, assuming you don't buy into the theory that we didn't actually go to the moon, but that's a different video for another time. We've also conquered some of the tallest mountains in the world. Each of these is impressive feats, but we still have yet to explore the Earth's oceans. Well, today we have only explored a little under 10% of our oceans. We've discovered 210,000 underwater species, and there are still an estimated 20 million species that are estimated we have yet to discover. Since we've not seen a lot of our oceans, it's not really inconceivable that there could be human-fish hybrids like mermaids living under the water. There's a lot out there we just have never seen. There have been stories like these and other sea monsters, and there's a chance that they are actually real. Since we have so much of the ocean to explore, anything could be possible. Not probable, but possible. When the dinosaurs roamed the Earth, things were a lot different. The world was not broken up into separate continents as it is now. Back then, there was one supercontinent, which we call Pangaea, and the world was made up of just one large landmass. Today, we have different continents, but in 250 million years from now, there will be another supercontinent forming. We call that Pangaea Ultima, which will include the subduction of the western Atlantic. The destruction of the Atlantic Ocean and the Indian Basin will rejoin America with Africa and Europe. The center of the giant landmass will be a semi-arid desert that would be prone to extreme temperatures. It's incredible that our planet could change so much yet again. Glaciers form over millions of years. They leave timeline indicators that help scientists figure out the exact time that the ice was formed. The nuclear tests that took place during the 50s are still throwing dust into the atmosphere that circles our planet. Most of it falls down as rain or snow, but some gets trapped in glaciers. When future scientists look at those glaciers, they're going to see proof of the nuclear tests that we've conducted. Scientists will be able to see the evidence of nuclear testing only if the glaciers still remain, though. If they were to completely melt because of global warming or some other reason, there's a chance that they would not be around for science to study. For a long time, people believed that the Earth was flat. Explorers worried that their ships would fall off the side of the world, which made their explorations dangerous. Some people still believe that, they're the flat earthers, but we're not talking about those kooks. Now, while the Earth is not flat, it's also not completely round either. There is a bulge inside the equator that stretches around 20 miles outward. It makes the Earth look kind of fat if you look at it from the correct angle. Most people know that chunks of gold were found in the water during the gold rush, hence the name Gold Rush. What you might not know is that there are around 20 million tons of gold at the bottom of the sea. Now, the reason that we've not excavated that gold from the ocean is that it's spread out over a very wide area. If you were to fill a 1-liter bottle with ocean water, you'd only get about 13 billionths of a gram of gold. It'd take too many 1-liter bottles to make the gold worth anything, or even worth trying to get. Currently, there's no efficient way of excavating gold this way. If we could figure it out, though, every person in the world, they'd be entitled to 9 pounds of gold, at which point the value of gold would drop to almost nothing. It's something that will probably never happen, so that's a good thing, because that means your gold is still going to be worth a lot of money now. If you were asked to point out the largest living thing in the world, what would you point to? The African elephant? Maybe a blue whale? Well, what you might not know is that there is a living organism much larger than both of those combined. It's a mushroom. It's a mushroom that grows in Oregon. It tunnels underground and it covers around 2,200 acres. This equals to about 2,000 football fields. Many people visit Oregon just to see this giant mushroom. Earth is an extraordinary planet. It's close enough to the Sun to keep the planet warm, but not too close that everything on the planet gets burned to a crisp. Now, for years, scientists have been searching for exoplanets that orbit other stars rather than our Sun. They think there might actually be a planet like ours that could sustain life, not too close to their Sun, not too far. Since 2012, we've discovered several super-Earths. They're larger than our planet, but they're considered to have habitable zones. In 2012, several super-Earths were found. One was discovered that's roughly the same size as Earth. It can sustain life, and it orbits a red dwarf. If we keep destroying our planet the way we have been, this super-Earth might be our only chance of sustaining life, assuming we can figure out a way to get to it. But then again, if we're intelligent enough to figure that out, shouldn't we be smart enough to figure out how to stop destroying our own planet? Subscribe for more.